Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara Taylor Designs, and today I have this rainbow Lucky is a State of Mind card to share with you. So let's jump right in. So to start, I am going to create my base and the layer that I'm going to work on. And the reason this card specifically came about was because I have these stunning gems, and I'm going to show them to you here in a little bit into the video. And I don't think I've ever really used the colored ones. And I really wanted to because they are so pretty. And you know that I'm a big believer of using what you have. So I really wanted to find a way to make a card that would kind of showcase these gems in a beautiful way. And I struggled a little bit to come up with an idea. So this is my idea for that. So for the card base, I had an A2 sized card base, and then I did a black matte and a piece of distress watercolor cardstock because I want to mist the ink a little bit. And I cut them down to be about 1/4 of an inch smaller for the distress watercolor cardstock and 1/8 of an inch smaller than my A2 base for the black matte, giving a very fine layer to each border, or a fine border to each layer. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I brought in the Holtz Brushstrokes stamp set. And I have my Misti here just because I felt it would be easier to line up the stamp. And I used 5 colors of Distress Oxide ink. I have Wilted Violet, Mermaid, Lagoon, Cracked Pistachio, Squeezed Lemonade, and Picked Raspberry. I mean, normally you would also have an orange in your color palette for a rainbow, but I didn't have enough room, so I skipped orange and went straight from the yellow to pink. So there is no orange in this layout, but normally I would have also had an orange in the layout, but I don't. So I'm going to use the stamp, and I'm going to shift it every time. Here you can see I line it up where I want it, and then I clean it off of the color that I'm using. And then I shift it over and then stamp it with the new color that I'm using and mist it with a little bit of water. That helps for a couple of things. It'll give me a little bit of movement, which I love on watercolor cardstock. Also, it allows there's no line where I'm inking the stamp, because I'm not totally sure how much length I need from each stamp, or like how much ink I need on the stamp for the length of it. So I like to kind of eyeball that and then just add extra ink. But if you're not careful, it kind of creates these sharp lines where you've stamped the ink pad down on the stamp. So to kind of combat that, if you mist it with a little bit of water, those lines pretty much disappear, and then that gives you that chance to just shift the stamp down and not have any issues with the lines showing up super stark. Now, I didn't line up my stamps beforehand, so I wasn't totally sure on spacing or anything like that. I kind of just guessed, and it worked out really well. And at this point, I wasn't sure how I was going to incorporate the gems. I knew I wanted to. I knew that they were going to be involved. I didn't really know what I was after, and I kind of played around with a few different ideas to get there, and I think that it turned out really pretty in the end. But at this point, had I thought that through, I wouldn't have put the pink layer down quite as low as I get it on the cardstock. So right now, because it's off the page, I tried to make it the longest line. So here's those gems that I was talking about. Because I wanted it to, because it's the least amount of color actually on the page, I wanted it to be the longest strip that's on there. But had I thought about the idea with the gems beforehand, I would have not quite gone so far down the page, but I think that it still worked out and it was really pretty. But these are the gems that I was talking about, and it comes with, I think, 12 different colors, and I don't know that I've ever really used the colored ones. I use the white ones and the black ones fairly often, but as you saw, it came with 10 other colors, and I don't know if I've ever I think I've used them once on an ATC that I made a while back. So it's like kind of sad, right? Because they're stunning. So I had to come up with an idea where I could really incorporate these gems, have them be beautiful and stand out on their own, and just have them be a part of a project that I'd made. So this was kind of the idea I came up with for that. So, I mean, I didn't measure anything. You guys know, if you've been with me for a little while, that I am a big believer in eyeballing things. But you could absolutely have put a line and then, would give you a straighter layout with the gems. I'm not worried about it. I think that they turned out pretty great. But you could, of course, if you were concerned, make yourself a line, and then you'd have an easier time of lining them up straight and not worrying about that. But I personally don't really think that that's the most important thing. So I generally don't worry about that, but completely up to you if that's something that you're concerned about, if you decide to recreate a card like this. And I had to fight myself while I was playing with the gems, not to just revert back to like a pearl or a neutral, like a white gem. I fought myself because I don't know. I struggle to use colored gems for no idea why. You know what? I know why. Generally, because I want to use super vibrant colors in the background, I tend towards more neutral gems to kind of add to that. So looking back at this, I almost maybe should have done the stripes of color in, say, gray or black, or, you know, like a neutral color, maybe a brown, and then done these really pretty crystals kind of hanging off of them. That might have given it a different look, but of course I think in vibrant colors, so that is the direction I ended up going. And then I really wanted to add a little bit of stamping on the inside to just kind of finish off this card. So I brought that same brush stroke stamp and put it back in my Misti, and then I have the card base there. And I'm going to bring in those 5 colors and just carefully use them to ink up the stamp right next to each other. They will overlap a little bit. That's not a big deal. It's pretty easy to kind of just wipe off a color that's on the wrong color pad. I've had no issues with that in the past, and I like to use my ink pads however the heck I want to. So I generally don't really care about stuff like cross-contamination in my colors, because I know, especially in this, I know that the colors that are sitting together are going to be fine and not create brown. So I'm never really concerned about it. But I did mist it with water to help those lines kind of work a little bit better together. And then this is kind of what came out, and I love it. I love how the yellow kind of moved into the pink a little bit. Like I think it turned out really pretty. That could easily have been a card front on its own, but I had already created the card front. So at this point, we're just creating the inside of the card. But I also decided to bring in a second sentiment from the same stamp set. Both of them are from the Tim Holtz Noteworthy stamp set, and just add to that kind of sentiment. So the front says lucky is a state of mind, and then the inside says be fearless. And I just thought that they kind of really went together, in my opinion. So I think that you make your own luck, and I think that being fearless helps with stuff like that. So I thought that they went really well together. So I'm going to adhere my layers together, and I'm sorry if I sound off. I'm still fighting that cough that I've had for the last little while. I can't seem to shake it. So I do struggle to catch my breath every once in a while when I cough. So if you can still hear that, so sorry. I'm trying my best here to not cough while I record my voiceovers, because I always do my voiceovers in one take, just because I want it to feel like we're having a conversation. I always kind of strive to have my videos come across as if you're crafting with a friend. That's kind of my hope for how it feels. So hopefully that's how it comes across to you guys. You'll have to let me know, because that's always what I strive for. But I mean, I don't watch my own videos because I make them. So hopefully they come across that way. But so that is the card that I made for you guys today. I hope you like it. I know it's more of a simple card, but I love how those gems look. And I think that it turned out really pretty. So I would love to hear what you think. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. And I am a little behind on responding to the comments, but I will respond to them. You guys know I have a lot on the go at the moment. So I'm behind, but I will respond as soon as I have a minute. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.